Hi again folks, how you all doing? Here we have a Hornby Q6, not looked at a Q6 before. This was sent to me by a chap called Robert, and he told me that he bought this used on eBay in 2021 and it ran absolutely fine. Then it started running intermittently and then stopped running altogether, shorting out his controller. So let's turn on the power and see what happens. Yeah, absolutely nothing on the track at all, but the ammeter is maxing out, so it is shorting. Well, let's shove it into the shed and we'll see what's up. Right then, a Q6. It's always quite exciting to work on a locomotive I've not worked on before, so this will be interesting. So the fact it's doing nothing on the track and it's maxing out the ammeter, it does appear to be shorting, but yeah, there could be one or two things wrong with it, and I'm a wee bit concerned about the motor, but we shall see. Otherwise, it appears to be pretty much pristine. It's a nice locomotive, the Q6. Yeah, very nice. Right, we'll get the sponge. We'll disconnect the tender because the DCC Hoojimadoojery will be in there, I would imagine. And we'll check the motor as well. So we'll undo that. There we go. Want to get a look in the locomotive first, I think. So we've got a screw in the front. And I think now we've taken that drawbar screw out. This should lift off okay. There we go. Right, now we've got the DCC gubbins out of the way. We'll give it a wee test with the battery. And it seems to be going okay. It's spinning away, so I think the motor's okay. So I think the problem might be with the DCC stuff. 2 screws at the front here. I mean, it's clearly an electrical issue, you know, what the locomotive's been doing. From what Robert says, it sounds very much like an electrical issue. Right, okay. So I've got an 8-pin socket, blanking plate fitted. Everything else looks okay. So I think what we'll do is take this blanking plate out. Just get a look in here. I don't see anything untoward. But I'm going to try fitting just a standard blanking plate. You know, there's a couple of diodes on this one. Let's just stick this in and see if it goes. Turn on the power. Oh, nope. It's still maxing out the ammeter. Okay, I've plugged it into the tender of one of my J36s. Let's just see what happens. It's doing exactly the same. Yeah, so the problem is in the locomotive, and really it can only be the motor, I think. Disconnect that. Right. I guess I have to have a look underneath the this underframe just to make sure there's nothing weird going on with the pickups. No, I don't see anything untoward there. I'm going to take the motor out. Now I've got it disconnected anyway, and we'll subject it to power direct from the controller and see what happens. Because everything that Robert told me made me suspect the motor. So I'm kind of going to stick with my first hunch that it was the motor that was the problem. But you know, the fact that it seemed to spin fine independently with the battery made me think otherwise, but I can't see anything else wrong with this. So it's a process of elimination, really. It has to be the motor. Take that gearbox cover off. I think we just have to lever this motor out, I think. There we go. Right, okay, we're wired up. Let's apply some power. And it spins. It's spinning. It's pulling about 300 milliamps. It's not getting hot. Now it's suddenly maxing out the ammeter. Yeah, it's a dodgy motor. So yeah, it's a dodgy motor. I mean, that was my first thought, but when I tried it, just touching the battery, it seemed to run okay. But I couldn't think what else could be the problem. Tested what was going on in the tender, checked the pickups, checked the wiring, it all seemed fine. So really, process of elimination, it had to be the motor. So I took it out, connected it up direct to the controller, and initially it span okay, and I was like, what is going on here? And then I heard a tiny little pop, and then the ammeter started maxing out again. So yeah, sometimes the motor will work, but sometimes it doesn't. So it's clearly a duff motor. So we need to see if we can get a replacement. So I went online to see if there was a replacement for this motor, and surprise, surprise, there isn't. No longer available. Nice one, Hornby. However, the motor itself is available, but just with a worm gear fitted. So it would be possible to get one of those, remove the worm gear, remove the flywheel from this motor. I might have to cut the shaft down a bit on the replacement motor and fit the flywheel onto the other motor. A wee bit of an operation, but I don't think there's much choice. So I'll speak to Robert and see if he's okay for me to order up one of those motors, and we shall sort this out, hopefully, in a few days. Right, so a few days later, we've got the replacement motor with the worm gear fitted. This was Hornby part number X9979. I can't remember what locomotive it's off, but it's exactly the same motor. So I need to get this flywheel off of here. That won't be too difficult because it doesn't matter if I damage the motor, so I can just force that off. But getting this worm gear off this is going to be a bit tricky. It's got a horrible shoulder at the end. There's not much to get hold of. But I think using this puller, I can get that round it, and I can get it started. And then if I heat it up gently, it might just budge, and I might just be able to tap it out. So let's get this in place like that. Screw this in. I've never had much success with this puller. It's really not strong enough, but it might just work on this. Yeah, that's just pushing the pin up. Right, I'll give this a go. I've put a drill bit into this, so we might just be able to pull it. We shall see. Certainly fits in the hole. It's not going to pull it off very nicely, but hopefully it'll do it. There we go. Easy. Now we need to pull this off, and that should be easy done. We can just lever it off. Well, okay, maybe not. Can I get that in? So let's get the flywheel off here, just do it the easy way. Stick that behind it, put that in the vise and just tap it out. Punch. There we go. Now, just need to stick this on here. How easy is it going to go on? The thing is to keep it absolutely square, which is quite difficult, because if not, it's going to wobble and that'll introduce vibration. So, yeah. Okay, I'll get my mitre clamp. Try and make sure this is all square on. And there we go. It's on. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Pulling gears and flywheels and things and putting them back on is always a right fiddle. And really, you know, it shouldn't be. It should be a fairly easy thing to do. But there just doesn't seem to be the tools to do it. At least not that I've been able to find. You know, there are various pullers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. But as you saw there, I still had to resort to a punch and a hammer and a makeshift pin, using a drill bit and one of my pullers to get to get that wee worm gear off the new motor. I really wish there was a really good quality small motor pinion gear pulling set, but I've yet to see one. It's one of my biggest bugbears in doing repairs, is that it's not, you know, a really good, clean, efficient way of pulling gears and refitting them. Same goes for wheels as well. I've yet to see a decent wheel puller. I know that there are some, but they're very expensive, and I still don't think they would work on every single type of wheel. I still think you would need a number of different wheel pullers. So again, you know, why isn't there a nice little set of, you know, a nice little wheel pulling set and a nice little pinion gear pulling set? If there was one and it was good quality, I'd be quite happy to pay quite a lot of money for them, because it would make this kind of thing so much easier, and you know, the risk of that going wrong is quite high, but with the right tools that risk would be reduced. So, and if one is available, please let me know, but I haven't been able to see one. So we need to get this into here, and we need to wire it up, and of course I've got no idea which way to wire it, so we'll install it and we'll do a wee test on it to figure out the polarity. That wants to go into there, like so. That'll go into there. Have I got this set right? There we go. That looks quite good. Right, we'll get the gearbox cover on. Actually, I'll get some lubrication in there. Oops. Going to get some gear oil in there. And a wee bit of oil in the bearings. Because if this is all fine, I don't want to open it up again. It's fine. Alright, okay, we'll get this on the test track. Or I could do it on the rolling road actually. That might be a better way to do it. Yeah, rolling road time. Right, okay. I'll turn on forwards power, so I want the wheels to rotate anti-clockwise as I'm looking at it. Let's attach that wire onto there, and that wire onto there. Right, so it goes the other way around. Goes that way. So that wire we want to solder to the top terminal, and the other wire to the bottom one. So that one on. Turn this round. That's that one on. Okay, power on. And there we go. So there we go, new motor fitted. And I use my rolling rod, get me. Okay, we'll get this back together. But hang on, what time is it? Oh, crikey. Yeah, it's nearly beer o'clock. Have I got time? What have I still to do? Okay. I'll get this off of there. I'll disconnect it. Okay. Pop this on. Just hooks in. Get my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, it just clips in there. There we go. There we go. That colon. And there we go. We'll give it a wee test. Okay, power on. Away she goes. It's pulling about 150, 200 milliamps. So there we go, a successful motor transplant. Pleased with that. Okay then, we'll pull it out of the shed. So there we are, that's Robert's Q6 sorted out with a new motor. Motor failure was my first guess at what was wrong with this, but when it span okay with the battery I got a bit distracted looking for another possible issue, but it became pretty clear that the motor was dying when properly tested directly with a controller. It's a bit annoying Hornby don't stock this motor either with the flywheel or even just on its own. Having to remove the worm gear from a new motor is not ideal at all, but it all went okay thankfully, and this Q6 is now running very nicely. Okay folks, I shall get this packed up and sent back to Robert, and I'll catch you later.